This is our electricity and power title, which is part of the Forwards with Science series and is aimed for Key Stage 2 science, with some of the activities being suitable for younger or older children. Forwards with Science titles run on TextEase, and that means you need TextEase on the computer in order to run them. If we go back here and click on there, we go back to the opening screen for electricity and power. A number of buttons on the screen. I'll show you what some of them do. We click on there, we find a bit of information about this title, and this is version 3.47, produced June 2012, and with a lot of thinking screens in addition to the normal activities, information screens and so on. And here we go, click on there for information about the buttons on the screen. And if we click on some of these buttons, that one will open an activity on a circuit, that one a plug, this one goes to the main menu page, and should we go here to nuclear energy, and we'll come back to that again later. Click on there, we open the first activity in the title, Electricity is Dangerous, and that gives me an opportunity to talk about the taskbar here. The arrows are predictable, go back, go forward, we know what that one does already. That is the task button, that is the support button, that is the research button, that is the resource button, with either labels or beginnings and endings of sentences, complete sentences as here, or drawings, again as there, and that takes us back to the opening screen. So we know what we've got to do here is write in these text boxes. And we could decide we're going to choose that. Children must not play around with electricity. We decide we don't want the full stop, we get rid of it. We decide we want a capital letter here, and then we can edit that as well. And then we can go on to that one, using electricity daily and living without electricity in the old days when people had to cope without electricity in the homes. And of course the children can ask elderly relatives maybe or neighbours and find out how they coped in the old days. And then if we go to this one here, that one will give a totally open-ended activity, but we've got the same buttons as before. You want to bring anything onto here, and the children might want to write about electricity as dangerous. They talk about things with a plug, things with running on batteries and so on. And then we want to record their work. We can either do a print screen and load that into Paint or a similar program and save a JPEG in the children's folder. But if we click on here on the printing icon, then we will find that instead of being as it looks now, the background will not print, the taskbar won't print, and of course we've got more room there to add further information. It is in fact an activity page with plenty of room for the children to add more to it. And here we are going to this one. This is a good activity, a homework activity, maybe for a Friday afternoon. And the idea is that the children try to think of as many things as they can which are in fact electrical devices, either things with a battery, with a plug, things that heat or cool, or leisure activities, and so on. And they can inquire at home, they can ask their parents, they can ask their siblings, their neighbours, and so on, and all come up on a Monday morning with their ideas, pull everything together and have a whiteboard activity. Shall we say now, well, we decide we're going to do maybe a mobile phone, and we'll write mobile phone here on that one, and here we could say we could use a fan, shall we say, and a fan cools. And then what we can do is either, say a fan has a plug, all right, so what we can do is either bring that up there, or we can follow the instructions here and we can decide what to do there. So if we go onto there and fill colour, oh sorry, what I haven't done there is to select the cell, go onto there, now we're getting there, fill colour, and we say okay, we want it's got a plug, so we will do that colour there, and now that is now coloured. We could also say that it cools, we can bring that down, and or we might be a fan with a battery, in which case we wouldn't have the plug on it, we'd use the battery one. And so we can carry on doing that, and then maybe later on do a print screen and laminate the page and put it up on the wall. Everyday electrical devices, thinking like that. Another way of doing it there, thinking about heating and cooling, or work or leisure, and again activities that require electricity and coping without. A simple circuit, what we've got here is a labelling activity. So in this instance they need to click on the word, not on the frame, otherwise they'll separate from each other, and so on. And there we'll go into another activity there to finish the sentence. Breaking a simple circuit, they've got to say why the circuit is broken. Maybe the battery is broken, maybe the bulb is broken, and in this instance maybe the circuit is broken because the connector doesn't actually fit onto the battery. Here they're making a circuit drawing using what they've got here, the pictures there, a circuit with 2 batteries and 2 bulbs, similar activity. Here a drawing, and here we're matching circuit drawings and diagrams. We've already got the drawing, so we look for the diagram, 2 bulbs, 2 batteries, we put that one there. And here we've already got the diagrams, and now we're looking for the drawings, so 2 bulbs and 1 battery, 2 bulbs and 1 battery, and that one will go there. Varying the brightness of bulbs, what we're doing there is putting the bulbs in position and deciding what, and here we can go back to there and we can have, that'll tell us what to do. Circuits in series and parallel, and so here we're saying the difference between them, we're writing down and we're using the bulbs that we've got here, and we can go on to here and there, and here we are, how bright are the bulbs, if 2 bulbs and 1, if we have 2 bulbs and 1 battery, then and then because. And bright or very bright, once again we're putting the bulbs in position there. Lit or unlit, similar activity, very bright, and so on. Controlling electric devices, click on the plug and see what happens. Circuits with switches, circuits with 2-way switches, the stairs, see what happens here when we do that, and so on. And circuit boards, a little bit of information about what happens. And this is a good one, completing a circuit as an introduction to a Worcester board before doing it on a Worcester board. And what they can do there is bring the links and put the links in position and the other parts. And of course what they're doing is following instructions. So click on there, build a circuit with 1 battery and 1 bulb, not sure what to do, click on there, and there they get the answer. Click on that one, and there once again they get the answer, and so on. And here we are creating an electrical current, and click on there to find out what happens, and click on any of those to have a little bit more information about it. And obviously there they can write down what happens, the classical experiment, a Faraday experiment. Parts of a plug, again, the part, what it does, why it is important, and that links on to electrical devices with or without plugs, and the importance of each device. And as said before, that one will move down, that is movable, doesn't print, and so the cells will extend downwards as the children print. And now we have our activity on energy, a lot of screens related to energy, and if we click on there we'll have an activity where they're needing to put the words in the right places. They can click on any one of these to find out a little bit more about that particular aspect. They can go to here, they're comparing energy sources here. For instance, does hydroelectricity, does it need water? They think it does, so they bring water down there, and so on to complete the grid. And here, another one, advantages and disadvantages of each of the energy sources, and they've got to think about it is reliable, occurs twice a day, renewable and always available, and so on. You've got to think what each one relates to. Here, producing electricity. What we've got on these screens are word beginnings and endings of sentences. Pylons carry electricity high above the earth, for instance, and they go on to add all the other sentences. They can click on any of these and have a little bit of information, or they can go into the associated words here and go into this one here. Well, turn, we'll take that one. Well, obviously that's something to do with turbines, so we'll write turbine here. And then we will look for any other words that is related to that. Maybe we could have here that the turbine drives the generator, and we can add that to there. And once again, a thinking activity for the children. Producing electricity, the same idea there, again with the same word bank. And here, the importance and purpose of each one. Here, energy from fossil fuels, similar idea. What we have here is a flow diagram. It is important that they click on the word and not on the frame, otherwise they'll separate from each other. Here, combined cycle gas and steam, a fairly new concept, and they click on any one of those, and once again they have a flow diagram. Geothermal energy, what they have to do here is to think of what how they could use the hot rocks if they had suitable resources and plenty of money. Nuclear energy, associated words here, lots of different words in the word bank, or they can go to here, stages on nuclear power station, and what they have to do there is to move the buttons, the number buttons, say which one follows a good comprehension activity, and once again they have the associated words. Hydroelectricity, a lot of these in my local area, and once again comparing energy sources using a Venn diagram and doing it in a different way. And here, pump storage, hydroelectricity, just a few miles from where I live at the foot of Snowdon. And here we are, a little bit of information, or a lot of information, a good comprehension activity. And they can write there, using the beginnings and endings of sentences, they can say what happens. They can go to this activity, and once again they're looking at the diagram. They would be very surprised maybe to find that that is deep inside the mountain and cannot be seen from the outside. Of course, it's a sensitive area, it's part of the national park. And here then what they have to do is bring these up. So they look at there, right, okay, pump storage, well, we do need heavy rainfall, and that's why this is found in a mountainous area. And the second one there, the upper lake. And they follow through what happens. And of course they can click on the search button to find out what happens. And here they go to this one. And once again, that the arrows here will give them a clue, but that is something that reversible, so that will go there. And the upper lake and the lower lake. And then of course what happens down there, is it the turbine, is it pipes within the mountain, and the children have got to decide. Pump storage, hydroelectricity, what they're doing here is to complete the diagram, and here they've got a prioritising process. Perhaps one here is fairly obvious, is the heavy rainfall, but then is that more important than the upper lake and the lower lake and the computer control and so on? Here we have solar energy, and here once again we have an if then because activity. If the sun is shining, then electricity can be made, or the electricity panels will heat up because, and so on. And tidal energy, here once again the same idea, and here tidal energy to electrical energy, and the same similar idea again, comprehension activity. Wind activity, what we have here, siting wind turbines, once again a lot of these in my part of the country, and why they have them on the coast, why they have them in the mountains, and the debate for and the debate against. And once again, encouraging the children to talk about it. Bioenergy and energy sources, and here, once again, the sentences that they've got divided into advantages and disadvantages, and they need to write the energy source there. And once again, they've got information. And here we are, back to the beginning of electricity and power.